To go from one team that's ending its season and has ended its season to a team that's just about ready to kick off its regular season, we will send it over to Bel for our Kraken, who finished out their 2022 preseason on the road up in Canada.
And they certainly didn't finish it like they started. On October 3rd, they played the Calgary Flames, and that was a loss 4-1. Player of the game was forward Alex Wenberg with 1 assist, 1 point, and 1 block. On October 7th, at the Edmonton Oilers, another loss, 5-3. Player of the game was centerman Matty Beniers with 1 goal, 1 point, 2 shots, 3 hits, and 2 blocks. So still some positive, still some good performances, but we couldn't go undefeated in the preseason. So, of course, nothing to shame our head down on. So we move on to some team news here. On October 4th, defenseman Riker Evans has been reassigned to the AHL Coachella Valley Firebirds. On the 9th, Joey Decord and Alexander True have been also reassigned to the Coachella Valley Firebirds, and John Hayden and Michael Kempney have been placed on waivers with the intent to sign them to Coachella Valley. And our Kraken roster is nearly complete. So I'm sure we have a list of that Chuck will throw on the screen here. I'll go over just a few of these centermen: Matty Beniers, Morgan Geekie, Ryan Donato, Yanni Gord. I'm not trying to snub anyone on the list, but I'm just going to go over some of the ones on the top here. Wingers: Oliver Bjorkstrand, Andre Burakovsky, Jonas Donskoy, Jordan Eberle, Jared McCann, Daniel Sprong. And I'm going to say that last one just because if I don't, it's going to be weird. Brandon Tanev. Defenseman Will Borgen, Vince Dunn, Kel Fleury, Adam Larson, goalkeepers Martin Jones, Philip Grubauer. Anybody there that you are surprised about or you're just elated to be on the list?
Not necessarily. This is on the Kraken PR website, and it's not like they haven't come out and made it official, but I mean, with how close we are to the regular season starting, I mean, this is probably what you're looking at. Jonas Donskoy will start on IR. Daniel Sprong makes the roster after being a professional tryout. We talked about him signing the contract last week while we were recording. No, not necessarily anybody I'm surprised about. I mean, Shane Wright's interesting. He's your number 4 overall pick from this past draft that a lot of people didn't expect him to slip that far. The plan per Ron Francis, your general manager, is that he's expected to be with Seattle all year. So that'll be interesting to get him play right out of the gate, not having him go to any sort of developmental league. Matty Beniers, I mean, you talked about sort of some of the brighter things with the preseason losses. He seems primed to be rookie of the year in the NHL. Morgan Geekie is a guy who there are a couple of guys in the sort of offensive side of the things who they're playing for their own jobs. Daniel Sprong, Morgan Geekie, Carson Kuhlman will all have to battle to make sure they get consistent ice time. But just looking at the offense, you're so much better than you were last year at this point in time. So much more talent. Getting Bjorkstrand, getting Burakovsky is huge. Jared McCann coming off of a great year. Brandon Tanev hopefully consistently healthy for the rest of the year after missing a lot of games last year. Beniers with the club for the entirety of the season as opposed to, I believe, 10 games last year. Just really interesting to get guys. You're a lot better offensively. On the defenseman side of things, getting Schultz in there will be interesting. Hopefully getting more consistent time for Susie, for Borgen. I know with you talked about Kempney getting sent down to Coachella Valley. It was official that Kempney and Hayden are sent down to AHL. So Schultz will be a guy that should be able to help the power play a bit this year. Seattle really struggled on the power play this past season and hadn't necessarily put things together in the preseason yet. I'm just hoping that as the regular season comes to it, they can finally put the final piece of the puzzle in there and everything seems much more clear. Martin Jones and Grubauer. Grubauer expected. Martin Jones was a guy
Mm-hmm.
that you brought in with Chris Driedger injured. It'll be really interesting to see what Seattle does with Jones once Driedger returns from injury later in this year. So that's my only comments there. But my thoughts on it, this roster looks a lot better than it did last year. The NHL version of like Madden and FIFA, right? The NHL 23
Mm-hmm.
simulated season had Seattle finishing as a playoff team and losing
Hey
to
now.
Edmonton in the first round. So playoffs in year 2 wouldn't be bad at all. But I'm not going to set the bar that high. I just expect you to win more games than you did last year by a decent margin. And I wouldn't expect you to be the basement team in your division. So obviously some things will have to come together. We talk about chemistry, right? So I'm sure a lot of these first few games, they'll have to get things together, play together as units, see their lines play consistently. The defensemen play well in front of your goalkeepers, but overall, I'm just happy with the fact that your roster looks better than it did last year. That's where I'm
Definitely. At. Yeah. So we'll move on to some league news here. On October 4th, the NHL will be using digital advertising, it was reported. The league will use digitally enhanced dashboards for the 22-23 season as part of its latest effort to boost ad revenue. And then coming back to our Kraken, they set a preseason record of 4-2. And they start the regular season at the Anaheim Ducks at 7 p.m. on October 12th. And October 13th at Los Angeles Kings. That's also a 7:30 p.m. puck drop. And then on October 5th, they get to bring it home for the season against the Las Vegas Golden Knights at a 7 p.m. puck drop.
So you're looking at Vegas there as your home opener. That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's interesting you play your division here to open up the year, but I don't know about you, Bel, but I'm excited to have hockey back. I don't know how much of that you were watching last season as the year rolled on. Obviously, I know it was tough with not having the best results, but it should be an exciting year. It should be fun. Like I said, with all these guys, I'm still learning. So, we had some tough names in hockey that we have to deal with, but it's a lot of fun, and it'll be fun to continue to roll through this. And just have hopefully a better year than we did